This is Justin Amazon on Wednesday, April 11th, 2018. Looking at the last 3 days where we had this triangle. We've been pretty range bound, kind of broke out the triangle and kind of retested here, ran up, seeing this level around 1437 as some resistance the last 2 days. That was where we had the sell-off back on, gosh, what day was that now? Friday. And the pre-market here today comes right up into the same level. And if, the last 3 days holds again, then we should see some selling off from this point. And we had another gap down that recovered, ran up a little bit. And, a pre-market high here, another one relative high here. So we'll step into the day. I'll zoom in a little bit more. So just keep this level in mind, 1437, 1438, this whole area. And we'll take a look at things going on today. This triangle, we're above it. We're pretty good ways above it. It'd be a pretty strong move bearish on the day if we actually come down to it. So we'll see if we need to keep it on the chart much longer after we get into today. So the first candle, a very large candle with some selling, actually gapped up to the open price, ran up, ran down, and recovered a little bit. Bearish engulfing in that pre-market, small candle. But shows again that there is selling in this area. It's just interesting that there's a lot of buying going up into the 1445 price. Very large candle to trade. Going to want to wait for some smaller candles to take a trade. Now we have a gap down, trade down, recover. Again, the same area, 1437, 1438. Too quick of moves unless you were ready to short up here for some reason, didn't really have anything in the chart, and get out of it down here at some target, maybe a pre-market target. I'm not sure. So I don't know how you would have been trading that, maybe on a 1 minute or something. Get another candle. This is an inside candle, long lower wick, but bearish instead of this one being bullish. So very similar candles there. Another inside candle. So now you got 15 minutes of some consolidation. Still really wide. You've got around $7, $8 on the range of the stock. And now we've seen a breakout. So had you set a trigger above with a stop below, either down here or down here, you could have been triggered in with probably the high of the day being 1R, and if it goes further than that, another R, and it gets there pretty quick, almost to the high of the day. So that would have been probably a quick 1R move, and then pulled right back, selling right at the same level of resistance, comes back in. Could be a retest back into this level. We'll see if we get another little bit of a pullback. We do. So anybody who missed that could be buying right here, again with a stop down here on 1430. And it starts to bounce, which is great. It runs up and actually pushes past through that that high of the day, which made one in the first 5 minutes, made a new high of the day. Now it's making new highs in the day around 1448, and we'd be looking for it to go up to our 1455 price that we had in here a little while back. It's been a few days, so we could see that happen. Throws a little bit of a wick and actually turns into a bearish engulfing candle up here. Again, we don't have much on our chart up in this area. The next price we got is 1455, so that's about $7 away from the highs here. It doesn't seem very far. Seems reasonable to get there, but this is a very quick move, and I'd anticipate a little bit more of a pullback for anybody else wanting to get in, and then a rally higher or some consolidation, then continue higher. And we get a little bit of retracement here. And now we have a slightly lower high, indecision candle near a high. And this would be a great place to bring your stop up here, take profits here, bring a stop up here, thinking this could look like it would reverse. This is a great place to consolidate and then continue higher, but you want to limit your downside with the indecisiveness of this candle. Just the wicks on either end, and a good place to consider going bearish. And then that's what happens in the next candle. We actually get trigger in bearish, take out the low of this candle, take out the low of this candle. We're moving pretty quickly. We are still above where some folks have gotten in, so that could be a next target down there. We've got some exponential moving averages in the way. So there's could be some places that we slow down a little bit. And we come right down into the exponential, then come down further. So right now we're right where people were triggered in. Anybody who had held through that and didn't move a stop, they're slightly negative. They could get out right here for close to break even. And it would be, looking back at it, this would have been a great trade here for a few R down to this level, and either you're trailing a stop or you're getting out at some targets down in here. The close or open of these candles for a quick move, but it does continue. Actually takes out this low also, and it's like, okay, well, we didn't quite get up to 1455, but we definitely had a sell-off. Barely retested the neckline here. Maybe with this neckline of a double top here, maybe with this wick, maybe with this wick, kind of retested, but not like a pause with like a bullish candle that then we're taking out also. So we come down here, we're getting some buying in the same area. We had these 4 wicks, some buying in that same area. So some of the folks who are buying here, even this first candle at the open at low of 1433, this one is 1433.04. So the people who were buying on the low of the candle here were also buying here, 4 cents off. We get a little bit of a bounce. These two lows are about 11 cents off of each other. So this is a tweezer bottom. We've got I forgot to mention it here because it's kind of reverse order. You have a bullish candle, then a bearish candle. This is actually the right order: a bearish candle, then a bullish candle with very similar lows would be a tweezer. This would be just similar candles. I mean, we talked about them being similar candles, but it doesn't have the same impact as a bouncing with the lows. These were actually 6 cents apart from each other. So with these two candles here, this is a higher low on the day. We have a high here. If we get a bit of a bounce, it could come up to the same level at the angle that this is kind of following with the pre-market. We could see that happen on the upper side, so maybe we'll get up to around 1444 after a couple more 5 minutes, or 1446 if it's really soon, just with some consolidation. So we move up a little bit. Now we got a high wave candle, small candle here, low volume. This is a candle that's got some indecision right at the exponentials. You're barely triggered in, or maybe you waited for that candle and then you got in when this pulled back slightly here, and you're in above these two candles with around $7-8 range. But if we only go up to 1444, that's only about half an hour, a little more than half an hour. So throw a lower wick and continue to make a little bit of a high on the 5-minute candles. So these 4 bearish candles, we made some higher highs on them now, which is good. It'd be great to see that continue. We definitely have some buying coming in on this candle with a long lower wick, but we've got lower volume too. Now this one, we throw an upper wick, and we may be having some of the same folks selling here, thinking this is a retest of this neckline again, and we could just roll back down. This would be a great place to set up a trade short with a trigger around 1440 and a stop around 1442 for a quick move back down into this increasing high or increasing lows for maybe a quick 2R or something like that. We do have some bullish momentum on the squeeze, but not a squeeze forming. We'd have a little bit of an evening star reversal here where we could roll over. But this is also a retest right back into this place where some folks may have been triggered into buying with the tweezer candles, so tweezer-ish candles. So this could still be buying from this setup, and a much better risk to reward if you didn't have your stop down here, if you had it here or here, something like that, you bought here by here, it only has to move a couple dollars for you to make 2 or 3R on a trade. We throw a lower wick in. These wicks are still holding as some good lows. This is a bullish engulfing candle on the 5, and I think it's a shaved top. Yeah, shaved top candle. So the high and the close are the same. So this candle ends with people buying right into the end of the candle. Buying down here looks like we'll continue up our next target now that we've put in a few more 5 minutes. Similar angle to this, probably 1444 now that we've kind of consolidated over 20-25 minutes in this area. Push up a little bit higher and we hit that target, 1444. If you had a stop weight on here, you probably have about an R. Be a good place to lock in, because this again is this neckline now. We've come back up and actually fully retested to this neckline on a longer term retest. It could be time to turn back down and go down into the 1436 maybe with the angle like this. It could continue higher. There's definitely a lot of selling, some bearish candles up here. And right now we're actually right about the same level as that opening candle's high, around 1445. Actually, the high here is 1444.86, so 14 cents below the high of the opening candle. So great place to have a target, great place to take some profits, and at least trail up your stops some. Push a little bit higher. This is a bullish engulfing. We had 5 bullish candles in a row. We've got 4 bullish candles in a row here, 4 here, 3 here, but moved quite a bit further. And if you look back at yesterday, we had 4 here, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3 here. So, having 5 bullish candles in a row, 4 in a row, that's pretty decent compared to what we've been trading lately on Amazon. And so I somewhat anticipate that pullback to start coming in, and we do actually get a little bit of that. So this is the open and the high on this candle are the same, which means we immediately started selling. So whereas this candle was buying right into the close of the candle, this candle opened up, immediately was selling, and pushed back down, taking out these 3 candles. But because this was a good place to have, a lower high here from this one, we were anticipating some resistance coming in and some selling. And so now looking at this, this would be a good place to look to take profit around 1436, 37, continuing this angle. It could easily get to 1437. That's only a few dollars away on its way back down. But what does it do? It throws a wick up, probably stopping out anybody who actually did short from right here, or if they have a stop further up, more conservative, then they're still in or in for partial of a position. But again, we do have the selling coming in, even though it is a bullish candle, selling coming in at this level, which we didn't even get to on this candle. So I still would anticipate some rolling over and some more consolidation to come in. This is an inside candle, inside 5-minute candle, so lower volume. And if it's going to continue higher, you'd want to see it maybe do another one bearish and then go, or just go right now and push above the wicks on both of these to signal that it's going to at least come up to this level again, or up to our 1455 price. We actually throw a higher wick, an upper wick, again in the same area, and the body is ended up being kind of an inside candle, but I wouldn't call the whole candle inside, just kind of the body of that. So this could indicate a good place to sell. Again, with more selling coming in than just these 2 wicks, and then this open being a shaved top. Now you've got more selling in the same area. You could get in bearish below this candle, the stop up here, and if you want to come down to your 1436 price, it's probably about an R trade. So a lot of consolidation, a lot of things moving somewhat slow. We consolidated for a little bit longer, didn't really trigger in until now on this candle, coming back down to 1440. And there's just some indecision. If you look at all these candles, we're kind of range bound within around $4 or $5 here. At lunchtime in the Eastern time zone, it's the clock here is central, so between 11 and 11:30, not much activity going on, and now we're starting to break down a little bit. I still think 1436 would be good, maybe 1437, 1438. Had you gotten in below the lows here, looking for a move. We did have a squeeze start to form and then fire, but it had quite a bit of bullish momentum starting it out, and there's not a lot of bullishness happening right in here. So you really want that to build up some more momentum to be able to fire, long or short, whichever way it's going to go at this point. So we'll come down a little bit more, try and pause here to bounce. These two lows are actually 1 cent off, so these are tweezerish candles, but didn't get it above this at all. Actually took this one out immediately, and we're right into our 1437.11 low on this candle. Got a squeeze forming to the downside, and we move a little bit further. Now we get into our 1436 price. We had before some buying come in around 1434. If it comes down a little bit more, we could see that, and then this would look more like, looking at the bodies, would look like a relative low instead of like a higher low here. So taking another step, and we actually start to bounce again. So this triangle is looking more like it's going to hold, and we're really tight on it now. So we come up, you still see, okay, that's a good price for it to come back up to, maybe 1444. And then this candle was great right here at a known resistance on this down angle, and a very small candle. The range in this candle was about $2, and it's right in the middle of central lunchtime. So again, there's more activity in the East Coast with people handling trades, but not as much in the East Coast or in the Central Time Zone with it being lunch. But this could easily be a place that you put a trigger bearish below this and a stop above it, or give it a little bit more room. You've got the shaved candle here at 1440.20. Oops, I read the low. Sorry. The high, 1443.09 was the open and the high, and these two, 1443 and 1443.08. So really, this being a strong shaved top candle translated into a tweezer-ish top with a very small candle. If this starts to move bearish, this could be an evening star reversal at a resistance at a shaved top candle. Looks very, very strong to go bearish. Again, you've got some resistance coming, or some support coming up with the downside of this triangle, but those are some really strong signals at this level that would give you some confirmation to, or some confidence to have a stop, just above that. Immediately we get selling. If you triggered in and got filled, you are already up an R on this very small setup, or even if you had a stop a little bit higher, you're profitable already. And we'd love to see this just move down. This being a Wednesday, approaching 1 p.m., I'm always a little bit cautious because sometimes there's FOMC minutes or something that come out. But this trade would have been so quick to make 2 or 3 R from just this small setup that it didn't even need till 1 o'clock to play out and do something. We definitely have the support coming in on the from this being a low to a higher low to another higher low, this being a high to a lower high to a lower high. So we definitely have this consolidation. And if we take another step, we're just consolidating a little bit more in here. But again, the bearishness, or the signals that show this being resistance, and then what we're seeing here, some rolling back down, some buying that's still bearish, or bullish buying, but the candle ended up being a bearish candle. These two, this is a bullish candle that engulfs the body but not the wick, and then this candle is a bearish engulfing on that one, and just more signals saying, okay, this looks like it's going to go bearish. We've got the squeeze that just triggered to the downside, and we actually, from this price, actually gap down about $1, then trade back up, and we end up with the high and the close being 5 cents off from each other. And could see some more buying on this, or that could be kind of a last gasp for it to try and recover where it's starting to move. We've definitely got some lows in here that this would have been a great target on this move. But if we do end up taking out the low here, definitely get in bearish with a stop around 1441. So this would have been around probably a $6 risk to the downside, and you'd look for a move down into 1430, the low on the day, and that'd be just a 1R. But if you were able to move your stop a little bit tighter as it goes, that would be very, very helpful. We actually move up a little bit more. This is a bearish engulfing of a bullish candle. So again, looks like it could continue bearish. Maybe you weren't triggered in here. This would be a new great setup with a stop above here around 43.50, and get in down at 1438 bearish. So a few dollars of risk, and we'll look at the options in just a little bit. And then this definitely turns into another evening star reversal. Continue with this lower high, lower high, lower high pattern we've been seeing, and some relative low here that get broken up by this one. If you weren't in up here, look for a retest into 1436, these lows, and a stop way up here, so around $6, but hopefully you can very quickly move your stop down and be able to lock in some of that. So here's the retest, comes past 1436 all the way up to 1439 almost, which would have been just barely into the body of this candle, which would also be a great place to get in. So 1438.30 would have been a good entry, and then 1442 would be a good stop up here. So again, it's close to $3 a risk with much larger reward potential. So this is looking like a flag trying to move back up. It's also retesting the higher low, the relative lows, but this kind of upward angle here, we're retesting to that, and still a great place to then see it roll over. So have a Morningstar reversal that looks like it's going to go. Some people may have been wicked in here and then may have been stopped out here. But if you had been waiting on an entry back into this body that we just talked about on these candles, let's see, the two highs here are 2 cents away from each other. So just more confidence saying, okay, this is a tweezer top now, or tweezer-ish top, being 2 cents off. Bearish inside candle, some consolidation, continuing to want it to see it roll down. We've got the yellow exponential moving average that's been holding pretty well here. Kind of didn't do that too well here, but now we're holding it again with the wicks and the bodies of the candles, and we start to just roll down from here. Now we're below, we've taken out this low, makes sense to retest a little bit, and we retest, and then we continue to roll over. Now we've taken out, we looked like there was some bouncing going on here because the open, the lows of the open, but we actually push right on through that, down into the 1426 area, and rally from down here. We'd have to look back at a couple days to see, around 1426 or 1420 is what the support was. But we take that out a little bit more, put in a low here of 1425.33, and then start to bounce a little bit, and then come right back down. I think this is the close, yeah. So come right back down into this level of closing right around 1426. And then I don't think I looked at the aftermarket prices yesterday, but so it just kind of consolidates in the same area here. We zoom back out, so that was the, oops. This is the picture we've had on, still below this resistance here, and this, this level didn't quite make it up that high. Chopped around some. It's a little hard to see the triangle here. If maybe I make it a 15-minute. See what that does. I guess maybe that helps. So here's the lower lows. Here's the higher highs. We break down, retest, and roll over. We'll put it back in the 5-minute. I like looking at the 5-minute. Stick with that. So if we just look at today and see some of the options and what you could have done. Let's see, the range here is this. So had you been seeing this happen and know that there's buying coming in here, this candle came down, this would have been a great place to buy some calls. Could have done that, on the candles here. And the options actually didn't move great across this move. This is the 1440 call out of the money, but it's possible you could have bought anywhere down here around 10 and flipped that out for 14, or maybe a little more than 14 if you had held through this retrace and moved back up. So that would have been 4R on the first 45 minutes, or first hour of the day here. We had this very small candle here, so you could have bought probably in the next candle somewhere around $8 on the 125 put expiring this Friday, and then that moved very quickly, so around 8, moving up to probably call it 11.50. So that would have been a quick 3 something R move here. You come back to the lows in here with the tweezer-ish bottom. Could have gotten in on a couple of these candles in here, maybe this one or this one, the lows. Maybe got in for like 10.50 or something. Your stop would have been a little far away down at 9, or if you had not taken the stop way down here, had taken it on this candle or something, or maybe a little below, because the low here was 10.21. So maybe you got in at 10.50 with a stop at 9.50. It's possible, and then that moved up to 12.13 somewhere in here. Could have flipped it out for a couple of R on that move, and now it's kind of getting a little bit tight for some sways back and forth between the lower high and the higher low to see what's actually going to do. But once you get over here, like to this candle, you're looking at some great resistances coming in. You could set up a trade. Maybe you got filled. It's kind of hard to tell on the options because there weren't a lot of people trading the 1425 put in this area here. So I think we jump a couple 5-minute candles. So this happened at 12:20. You could have gotten in on the 12:25 candle, come down here, and nobody bought between 11:50 and 12:45. So I don't know what the price would be on this option when it was in here, which is kind of funny just looking at options. We just know that, okay, somewhere around maybe $8 would be a good place to buy that put. Around $8. Maybe $8.50 with a stop around $7.50, which would have still been above these candles here, which would have been way back up in this area. So getting in after evening star reversal, maybe trigger in here, maybe wait for this retest, maybe you had waited for this retest and then it rolls. But some of those would have been 8, being able to flip out for maybe 13, 12, something like that. That's another 4 or 5R that you could have done on just this rollover. Now, if we look at a little bit of a closer option, maybe the 35 put, maybe we'll see some more opportunities to get in bearish. So this put in around a low around 10.30. Low here is 10.59. Low here is 11.35. So it kind of had some steady upward move because you're closer in the money, which is what we saw here. We saw so higher low, higher low, higher low on a put translates to lower high, lower high, lower high on the underlying stock, Amazon itself too. So any of these places would have been a great place going bearish, here, or even here, knowing that, okay, the direction on the day is bearish. Let me get into some puts and adjust your stop accordingly. So if you gotten in here at 11, let's say 11.40, oh, that's not much of a range, 11.40 with a stop down at 10.30 or 10.50, I mean, that's about $100 on a stop. I don't know what the bid-ask spread was on this one. I didn't watch this option to see what it was doing, but this would have been a great place to get in and flip it out. What we say around 11.40, something like that. It moved up to probably 18.40, so like 7R on this kind of a move potential, where it's rolling down slowly from up here, down, and gets to be in the money actually here. And when it's in the money, it starts to move pretty much more aggressively. So getting into the money and then getting out of the trade is actually a pretty good rule of thumb to lock in some gains. And you can always get back in, but to lock in something on this area, because what happened next is it retraced and then rolled over again, but we didn't really get this spike here of the higher 19 on both these candles. You got pretty close here, but you're actually lower on these candles than this one. So lots of bearish movement, lots of rollovers, but watching for these small candles to form is really key. Had a small one here, could have taken that bearish. Had a small one here, maybe got stopped out unless you had a looser stop. Had a small candle here that would have worked out if you didn't move your stop too soon. I mean, this would have been 35 minutes of candles, so you got to be disciplined not to move your stop. And then this one, small candle, broke down, looked to retest, got another small candle here, but bullish, and then we begin to rotate down, to roll over. If we look back over at the daily, we've got a lot of consolidation in this range the last 5 trading days. And so we're trapping a lot of people going bearish if we gap up bullish. It'd be a bullish gap and go to do that tomorrow. Or if we gap down, there's some, the 1404 price is a good support. The, what price is this? 1338, that's right. 1338 price could be relevant again for some support. But we've definitely consolidated here. You can look at this as like a pennant, and it could go either way. And we'll be watching for how to trade that. Along with the resistances ahead, you've got this gap that seems to be holding. You have old resistance, new support. Now it's it's resistance again because we've stayed below it. We've gapped up and traded below that range, not gotten pushed through. So there's still a lot more selling, but go into it tomorrow kind of open-minded to see what it's going to do and how it's going to move. Move back over to the 5 minutes, and we usually have some large opening candles. If there's anything that's a small opening candle, especially if tomorrow, let's say we gap up, so it's bullish gap and go, because it should move. If we actually gap up above the 1455 price and then put in a candle, not as big as today's, but if we put in some sort of a selling candle like this one and then immediately move back up, like this was a great consolidation, 2-candle consolidation, but also where you're matching the reversal to the bullish side from the bearish side. If this happens at a gap up, get in above with a stop below and just hold on, because it should move. There could be an opportunity to get in on a pullback, but that is by no means guaranteed. And so it would be more advantageous to get in as it's breaking up, as it's moving to the upside, and get your stop in place, and then just sit back and follow your rules for when you're going to move your stop, what your target's going to be. But anything in this range could be a target. We haven't seen this many days going just sideways since probably up in this area where we had 5 here, and they ended up actually starting to roll over. Maybe 4 of these in here. So there's, if we can zoom way out and try and look, but maybe this one. These were already really small. I'm looking for something big turned to small. Maybe this here, these candles that were kind of bookended and then did continue to grind slowly higher. There's pretty good range on this. It's about a $50 range on the lows to the highs of these 5 candles. And so that's more volatile range than we've seen, since the stock was way down here, 500 points ago. So we'll just have to wait and see how tomorrow opens up, what the pre-market looks like. If it looks like it's going to move us up to the 1455 line or something, great to see that. Or on the flip side, if it actually moves us down, gaps below some of this 1400 price, you know, we could see some retracement because it's bearish gap, and then a rollover, and that'd be a great trade to get into also. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Justin, AMZN.